Everybody wave at the camera. There's 5 adults here, and today I shall be talking to you about the origins of Americanized Halloween. I'm Jennifer Emmons, and shall I get started? It is good to know the true origins of Halloween so that we know what we are celebrating and why. Without this basic knowledge of Halloween, people lose interest in the holiday, and it no longer carries the same meaning as it once did to our ancestors so long ago. When asking people why, they are dressing up, going door to door for candy, carving pumpkins, or why they are celebrating Halloween, most cannot answer that question. So where did Halloween come from? How did Halloween get started? Well, monsters and ghouls, come with me, and I shall take you for a ride. People have been celebrating Halloween for the last 6,000 years. That is quite a long time. Halloween was originally known as Samhain. It is said to be the one night when the veil is thinnest between the living and the dead. Ancient Celtics originally celebrated Samhain as a time for thanks at the end of the harvest season. It was looked at the same way that we often look at our Thanksgiving time here in the United States. They started celebrating Samhain before they used calendars. The Celtics tracked the years from one end of the harvest season to the next, so it became known as the Witch's New Year. And it is still celebrated as the Witch's New Year for today's New Age pagans and Wiccans. Samhain was a time when past loved ones were remembered and death was feared due to the harsh winters to come. Many people did not survive the winters, and so they went from door to door giving their neighbors food and checking on them to make sure that they were okay. Pagans also at this time of year put out food offerings for loved ones who may pay them a visit. These practices are most heavily seen today in Mexico's version of Samhain. Mexico's holiday is called the Day of the Dead and is celebrated on November 1st. They clean up their cemeteries. They have huge parades. They remembered loved ones who passed on by making them food offerings that looked like skulls. So, how did the name Samhain get changed to Halloween? This is a pretty big name change. Well, according to Silva Ravenwolf's research in the book Halloween, it all started around 14 AD, when Christianity started to rise in Rome. Rome had a harvest celebration during this time, named after the goddess of fruit trees. The holiday was called Pomona. The holiday Pomona was moved on to October 31st to ease the burden of Roman religion change from paganism to Christianity. Around 1314 AD, the ruler Constantine the Great declared Roman Empire as a Christian one. This led to too many name changes to list here, but over the next 15,000 years, there were a lot of name changes, one of which was All Saints' Day, which the Catholics changed the name to honor the saints who passed away. And then there were also name changes such as All Souls' Day, All Hallows' Eve, All Hallows' Mass, Hallow Evening, and eventually Halloween. When our ancestors traveled here to the United States, they continued celebrating Samhain in many different ways. With all the different cultures here, there was a blending of the practices, which eventually led to the Americanized Halloween that we celebrate today. One of the most common American Halloween practices is trick-or-treating. This began when children and teenagers started to prank, vandalize, and steal stuff from their neighbors on this spooky evening every year. The handing out of treats was a bribe towards children to leave their property without harming it. So eventually became known as trick or treat. If you not treat me, I shall trick you. While you're out trick-or-treating with your children, you may notice that the houses are lined with carved jack-o'-lanterns. Historians believe that carving pumpkins traditionally began when the Celtics carved faces into apples, turnips, and potatoes as lanterns. There is a legend about Jack, whom the jack-o'-lantern was named after. He made a deal with the devil. carved a cross on a tree and tricked the devil to go up into the tree before he carved it. And the devil was so angry he did not allow Jack into hell. And Jack was also not allowed into heaven either because he was so bad. So he has to wander the earth searching for somebody to take his place. This is why we carve jack-o'-lanterns today. It is said to protect our houses. These are just a few of the Americanized Halloween traditions. So whether or not you choose to celebrate Halloween, at least you know a little bit about where it came from, why we are doing some of the weird things we do on this spooky evening, and the fact that a holiday was able to survive over 6,000 years through war, religion changes, and our ancestors moving to a new land is pretty amazing. May Halloween live on.